use that political currency as chips to essentially fashion a better deal for themselves in a way that an American company simply can't engage. We need to address that disequilibrium. We need to give American energy companies a fair shake in all of these countries around the world where, in so many ways, we're under attack, not only because of the high energy prices, but because of this changing infrastructure, again, infrastructure that includes the legal infrastructure. A gentleman at my table was talking about how, where do you know when to invest in Venezuela when they can go from the 1999 hydrocarbons law to the 2006 hydrocarbons law to the 2007 hydrocarbons law. And it can be the same thing in Nigeria, it can be the same thing in Angola or other countries. We need a bigger group than any one IOC to get together and try to do what, for instance, the movie industry has done in setting up common standards, a common approach, and a more coherent approach for American business in these critical markets. The prescription has to be a redevelopment of U.S. soft power, number one. Number two, we've got to do what the Council on Foreign Relations just told us to do on Latin America, which is we have to re-engage, we have to re-energize, and we have to listen to what they want to talk about. They want to talk about poverty. They want to talk about infrastructure development. They don't want to hear about the war on drugs to the exclusion of everything else. They view the war on drugs as our problem and not their problem, and they're right. For all the money we spend eradicating coca, for every $7 we spend in Latin America, we would get more bang if we spent $1 in the United States. Let alone the fact that this war on drugs and this war on terror is making us new enemies every day that we don't need. We need to address the war on poverty in a way we have not addressed it for half a century. We need to address the war for education. We need to address the war for water and safe treatment of children. And people need to understand, and I think what Mr. Bush has done in Africa on AIDS is heroic, and he needs to be applauded for it, and more people need to understand it. We need to be waving those flags when we have them. And we need to take pride in ourselves and our own institutions. And we need to engage with these people in country, not just out of country. And we need to understand, most of all, that the United States has to view the world through a new humility, through a new lens of humility, through a new willingness to understand people. And then the Chavezes of the world will not appear so attractive. And there is also a lesson, and I will tell you from my experience in Russia, there's a massive lesson: we cannot make a mistake again. I have been very critical of the regime of Vladimir Putin, but I will tell you, when this nation suffered a massive terrorist attack, Mr. Putin put his eggs in the American basket, and he offered America a tremendous opportunity to engage. We never engaged properly. We delegitimized those in the Kremlin that wanted to work with the West. And it has cost us, and it will cost us for years to come. We've got to start listening better. We've got to understand that this idea that America doesn't engage with its enemies largely, not exclusively, but largely creates new enemies. And we need, most of all, not to allow people like Chavez to draw us into a fight to strengthen their base. We need to be extremely careful to not allow people to paint themselves as the anti-American when what we want to be is not necessarily the friend of Chavez, but the friend of the Venezuelan people. Because we need to understand that the exceptionalism argument about Venezuela does hold true. These people in December defeated Chavez. Turning our back on them now is the last thing we should be doing. Well, I probably have gone over my time. Thank you very much.
We're going to start out with an opening question. Could you comment on the EITI, Extractive Industries Transparency